let's see if this works. Nice. What's up with the music? Music. Speakers, I suppose. Yes. Test. Alright, this is too low. Alright, that should be better. Let's take a look at the filters. Denoiser, equalizer. Yeah, very good. Cool. And let's take a look at this fella here. Alright, 36 decibels, that's maybe too much. Alright, maybe that's better. Limiter, 5 meters. Cool. Alright, great. Alrighty, that's great. Let's open cursor. Alright. Interesting. Alrighty, what do we get here? Nice. Overflow mobile, got it. Cranberry, hey buddy. I don't know, for some reason cursor was removed itself from my computer. So I don't know what the hell happened. Cursor just removed itself from my computer, so that's really weird. But I've seen that happen before. They had that very bug very long ago, and it seems it's kind of back. So let's see. Yeah, that is fine. It seems fine now. Yeah. Chica, hey buddy. Yeah, I haven't tried the version 2.0. I've been in Lisbon, if you guys remember. I've been on a trip the whole week. Yesterday I didn't really write any code. I had meetings whole day at work. So let's try it out. But you know, who cares? Again, it's just an editor as always. So there is a new update. But I just downloaded the latest thing from their website. How come there's an update? You just saw me. I mean, I literally just downloaded the version. So why am I getting an update already? That makes absolutely no sense. All right. Okay, let's try. Interesting. Okay. Oh, I see. Yeah, they maybe didn't. Yeah, maybe their CDN is back a version or so. But I mean, how are you guys? I've been to Lisbon for 4 days, and it was very nice. Yeah, I got a bit sick, honestly. You can maybe hear it in my voice. But yeah, and of course missed my wife and kids and stuff. But besides that, it was very nice. Had a lot of fun with my colleagues. And yeah, that is it. I hope you guys been doing something fun as well. All right, let's do some work. Let's wait for this guy to start. And in the meanwhile, we'll just start somewhere and continue where we left off the last time, which is building the feature. And of course, hopefully having a good time. Let's log into our local host. So this is kind of what we've been doing. I've been kind of, yeah. your interests. Okay. This is also a bit weird here. But yeah, we'll take a look at some of these things. We'll take a look at some of these things together. No upcoming events. Nice, man. You went to Morica. Nice, nice, very nice. Okay, where's this crap? Why is this still starting? Yeah, it's downloading some stuff every time. Sonnet, okay. Let's see. Didn't they like release their own? Yeah, this is their. So yeah, I haven't tried their new composer model, so we'll try that today as part of this stream for sure. Yeah, we'll try that. Context window 200k. Okay, so that's a nice context. Oh yeah. Well, that's the band, the Dubiosa Collective, right? Yeah, I remember that. I'm not really a fan of these social bands because it's just a bunch of bullshit, just classical Balkan stories all the time, over and over again. But yeah, it's I know that song. Yeah. All right, let's wait for this guy to finish stuff. I actually ordered a thing that I can't wait for it to arrive. So I ordered today. I ordered this guy that I wanted to buy for a very long time, and I'm so looking forward for it to arrive. It's gonna change how I work. So I can finally get rid of all of my notebooks and notes and stuff. Scriptex on YouTube. Hi, thank you very much for joining. So yeah, so looking forward for this fella to arrive. It's gonna, especially carrying it to my meetings and stuff like that, and brainstorming ideas. It's gonna be awesome. All right, did this thing actually still downloading a server? Yeah, let's give it a moment. And then let's take a, yeah, we can't actually take a look at anything yet because the thing is still kind of getting there. But I can already see here, so we're gonna have to continue. And this, this is actually very nice. I like where we got so far with that. Yeah, actually I've just spawned some alert. Yeah, okay, members. So this was fine. This is also fine, I think. Almost sufficient. And the only thing I guess we're gonna miss to finalize this feature, and it's gonna be a little bit tough, is gonna be some calendar, right? And of course we're not gonna build our own calendar. That would take a long time. So we'll need to find something, but we need to kind of go ahead and see what it is that we got left, right? So let's maybe create some plan. Hopefully this guy is gonna finish today. So let's maybe go to our GitHub projects and then start there. So let's see. No, so this is a different project I started, Programmer Network. Yeah, so let's create a new. So we have the meetups here. So this one we did. So let's write some of the things we have to improve. The role design of notify modal. Upcoming events under the feed. Sure that the meetup CMS works end to end. And then what else did I have? I had like so we need to yeah, so there's some bugs in here that I saw. So for example, this type of a card is missing so actually let me just paste that in here. So the CMS is kind of good for the most part, I would say. Then we have this button here that kind of has wrong styling. Let me just kind of write all of these things down and then we'll go through them. And then of course in the API, okay, very good. in the API, we need to kind of finalize the cron job stuff, right? So finalize cron job notifications for the meetups in the API. So this is kind of what we gonna start with today, or how far we get. Let's time will tell. But yeah, we'll as always do. Thank you very much for the follow, Racha Parody. All right, cool. So yeah, that's kind of it. So, and let's actually take a look. So if we take a look at our API source, and we take a look at the meetups, so we have some of these things. This is essentially something we already implemented. Then in the SendGrid templates, we kind of have that already working. Get upcoming events. This is a new thing as well. If we go to the router, no, so if we actually go to the config, here we have a queue, and then we have meet notification worker. In this worker right now, we'll need to kind of, yeah, we need to optimize this, and we need to figure out how often do we want this to run, because we didn't really go with a event-driven system like PubSub or any event-driven system. We went with just polling basically. So we're gonna check every interval if there's any notifications to send, and if so, we're gonna, yeah, send the emails using SendGrid. It would actually be nice if this SendGrid client had a bulk send, right? Instead of needing to loop through. Send multiple. Actually, it does have them, right? Here they are. So we could technically, yeah. So that's for sure one thing we want to do, instead of calling that n number for like n+1 times, right? So this should have, let's see, where is this? Okay, SendGrid, yes. So here we can say send multiple, and what does this take? It takes the data, a callback or a promise, sure, and multi-data required is this. Okay, can we find SendGrid send multiple? Is there some documentation? Yeah, I mean, this is exactly what we're asking, but do they have some? Yeah, sure. Okay, yeah, this is 2019. Okay, here it is. Oh, I see. Oh, okay, I see. All right, so essentially so the only difference is that the message itself, the object, the to is basically an array of objects, so that is the only difference, right? So in our case here, this to would be an aggregate, so here we would actually, let's see. So yeah, so we could kind of aggregate that in a single array, but then we would have to kind of fundamentally rewrite this logic, right? Okay, we'll actually see about that. Like, I don't think that really matters now. That's like a super low scope type of thing. But let's write it there. Let's write it somewhere around here. Let's say use send multiple to send meetup notifications using SendGrid. And then eventually we could also transition to Amazon SES, as I also saw that SendGrid is also using Amazon SES, so we're just paying for no reason. There we could almost get. Yeah, okay, cool. So fixed conditional JSON schema. Okay, so I'm gonna have to start somewhere. So first thing actually I'm gonna do, so let's also go to our core library, do this, run the storybook, and then I'm actually gonna go to this form. I'm gonna go to this form, and we're gonna start with some simple things, and then try to kind of get as many things done, and then narrow it to only a couple of other things. Okay. Okay, and this is, I assume, no, why are you manually casting? I hate that shit, man. Don't do that, okay? Okay, interesting. Okay, and I guess because this could, in theory, yield undefined. Yeah, no, not really, no. Why are you casting this, man? Oh, I see, because this select of mine yields this, right? Yeah, but I dislike that very much. Argument of type string, number is on its own, it's not, yeah. Yeah, I'm not a fan of code like that, but okay. Then this is my own library here, the form library tags. Tag utils tag ID to tags, that is correct. Yeah, no, I don't like that. This should really never yield an undefined. And we could do that, but we can also have a something like that, right? Okay, I see. So, all right, so instead of doing this crap, okay, actually, let's do that. That's fine. Okay, so we have the tags there, which is basically this, I guess. Yeah. We have this stuff here. Then we have this button. So let's actually see what's happening with this cancel button. Very silly thing. Form actions. I guess this is yeah, form actions. This is inside of our core library that we built, right? And actually, there's an update to this thing again. So let's kind of, while we're at it, let's just do that very quickly. All right, cool. So let's try running that again. These warnings should be gone? Yeah, they are. And let's open this thing up and let's search for form actions, because this is kind of our reusable. So actually you can see here it looks as it should, but in our implementation here where we're using it, it actually doesn't. So let's actually figure out why that is. So let's actually go to the component itself and let's look at the class name somewhere here. And also if we get over here, so what do we have a class name? Let me actually try one thing just to see what happens here. What's happening? Ah, I see what's happening. Okay. So I guess we have a tip tap somewhere here that autofocus thing that I discovered has an issue, where this thing has an issue. Okay, so let's see. There's some like a Tailwind conflicting thing here that's happening. Form actions. Let's take a look at that, and let's also yeah. Yeah, so actually this is good. Yes, sure. Hi Don. Hey buddy. Well, yeah, I came back. I came back streaming, I think, like last week before. I've been on a trip last week. But thank you, man. That's very kind of you to say. I'm very happy to hear that. I mean, that you miss the streams. That's a very nice motivation to stream. But yeah, I haven't been, I don't think I streamed in like a year or something. Yeah, something like that, possibly. Something like that, I would say. Yeah, these are some of the new things I kind of introduced. I'm actually not happy about these. Yeah, that's a bit weird. I mean, I just consolidated like I have a bunch of these open source libraries I built. So I've just consolidated the TS setup on all of them, and now this project kind of yields these things. So I'm actually not even agreeing with this role. This reminds me of PHP and some other languages. Have I studied computer science? Yeah, I have studied computer science, yes. Many years ago. I'm 37 years old now, so I guess that has been some years ago. So yeah, so there's some, so these are like stupid tiny things, at least they seem so, but they're actually not. This is a systematic issue now we have, because if we take a look at how this is supposed to look like, this our reusable this is our reusable component, you can see this looks vastly different. And it looks vastly different because wrong classes here are applied, so that is the problem. So essentially, most likely what's happening is that so here we have cancel and save. So if we're saying if there's show cancel, do this, and then I suppose that the variants here are to some degree somewhat wrong, right? Because I can see, like, looking at how it's supposed to look like, the primary one is fine, but the secondary one is completely wrong. So I'm doubting that it could be potentially these variants that are not applied. I mean, if you want to become a programmer, right, and that's your main preoccupation, then you don't need to go to school. Like university, going to university today is mostly helpful in some very other different ways, like getting some social skills, learning to work with people, making some friends, but and learning how to learn, learning how to study, right? But if you just want to write code and build apps, you never really needed to go to university. I mean, that has never been a prerequisite. So university gives you something a little bit different than that, right? And I think this is the problem. Yeah, this really sucks ass. Yeah, this is kind of problematic a bit because, yeah, we generate these dynamically as well. And I assume that because we don't generate it, give me a second if I go to production. Yeah, actually I don't have any meetups in production, so I would have to test that there. But I have a feeling that this possibly is only problematic in development, right? But that's still really bad. So these are almost like getters in some way. Yeah, well, yeah, that's how I made them. Yeah, okay. Fuck that then. Let's move away from that one. Let's go and yeah. So let's do something different a bit then. So let's go back here. And a lot of these things we see seem to be very local. Also, these styles not being applied properly also seems to be related to something local, right? Yeah, I'll need to fix this. I don't need to fix it now, but yeah. And then here, this form has been painful a bit, right? Okay, let me just think a little bit about this. there you cannot. I'm sensing that you want to learn something without putting in the time. You need to first need to share your expectation. I'm a bit confused with your question. It seems that your expectation is that you don't want to put in the time and learn it. So that's a bit confusing to me. So if you can if you can elaborate on that a bit, like what are you expecting? That you're gonna learn programming in an hour? It takes years to become a good programmer, just like everything else in life, right? Programming is no exception. Just like it takes years to become a good tennis player, good football player, etc. Right? So like I'm not sure exactly what your expectation. So in order to understand yourself, you need to first understand your own expectations, perception. Are you misunderstanding how something works, etc., right? Or how it's supposed to work. And also it's a very blurry when you say I finished the project in 5 hours. I don't know what that project is. So it can be a to-do app that can take 3 minutes, or So you need to write a table down, with your own expectations and see what it is that you expect. So I don't know what project, right? That's very arbitrary. That's like saying I built a piece of wood, right? You can build the door. So yeah, but programming is like everything else in life. Literally, there's no difference. Programming doesn't differ from any other profession. To be good at it, you need to put in the time, a lot of time, and that's really all philosophy about it. There's no shortcuts. There's nothing really mind-blowing there to say, other than like everything else, it takes time. So that is it. There's no special course that's gonna help you, special streamer, special content creator. You can watch all the videos in the world, but at the end of the day, you have to sit and do it. So that's really but you cannot learn as fast as possible. That's my point, right? You will learn as your capabilities allow, right? And I don't know what you're building and how you're building it, right? You're maybe watching a video somewhere and mimicking what someone else is doing. That's not learning. That is literally just wasting time. So I don't know what you're doing, right? If you're watching someone else doing it and then you're just mimicking what's on their screen, that's not learning. That is just bullshit, right? That is you deceiving yourself that you're doing something meaningful, right? So I have no idea what you're doing. That's the problem, right? I have zero idea what exactly you're doing and what you're achieving, right? What is your goal? What are you exactly? I'm building a project. I don't know what that means, right? Why are you building it? What are you building? You tried Bun? What's your opinion? Yeah, I've tried it. I mean, it's the same crap, right? There's no difference. I mean, if you're starting a new project, you can use Bun as a runtime, and in theory, it can be faster or slower. And that's more or less it, right? It's if it were like, you can try it in a new project, right, or whatever, and see if there's, but you will not see any difference, right? Again, talking about scaling issues and speed is arbitrary, right? I mean, there are some benchmarks that show that runtime performs better. There are some benchmarks that show that it performs worse, right? So it's kind of it's right, but I mean, I've tried Bun with ElisaJS. I think it's called ElisaJS, this thing, and this was fine. I wrote a microservice that here in my home Kubernetes that I use this for. So yeah, why not? I mean, again, it's fine. It's just, again, these numbers, right? These numbers, this is how fast it is. This is completely meaningless, right? So this is only meaningful if you're actually like dealing with a lot of traffic, you're building some and they're all the same syntax wise, more or less. They're almost identical, right? And again, at the end of the day, it's just building an API, right? Is nearly identical no matter which language you use. You can use PHP, Go, JavaScript, C#. At the end of the day, like, unless you're dealing with a massive amount of traffic, it won't matter what you use, right? As long as your code is well maintained, as long as business logic, as long as you're doing some domain-driven design, and as long as you have some basic structure in place, in most cases technology doesn't matter, right? Because for most people, especially here in the chat, you probably have a bunch of repositories that nobody ever in history will see or even visit. So fundamentally, yeah. But I would definitely urge people to give it a shot. Apparently, in theory, it's a faster runtime than Node.js. But of course, Node.js is way more mature and has massive community, and you can still write C++. Actually, Node.js, I think in Node.js 25, we no longer need to use nan to port C++ modules into JavaScript. Now there's a native way to do that. If we actually go to Node.js docs, now there's a native way to also write C++ modules. Yeah, here it is. So if we take a look at that, right? I don't know where it is, but I think it was under here. I'm not sure if they exposed it. But yeah, short story, it doesn't really matter. You can use Bun, you can use there's like three different runtimes now. There's Node.js, there's Bun, and there's, what was the third one? I don't remember. I don't remember what it was. Okay, let me see. I'm trying out to fix this. Dino, yeah, exactly. There was Dino as well, right? And at the end of the day, yeah, it doesn't really matter, right? Just use whatever you can be productive with for now, and then yeah, and then you know, over time, then adjust. And I would definitely not use Express anymore. So there's that exception I would make, right? I would definitely not use Express in JavaScript world anymore, because Express is truly obsolete, right? And you should use Fastify as I am, or something like that. But that's a different subject, and I don't have the time, sadly, now to get too much into it. So there are some changes, or you can use, it doesn't matter again what you use. It's completely meaningless for most people, right? So unless you are, yeah. Have you heard of, it doesn't ring a bell now. Let me see. If I see a website, I'll tell you. No, I have not heard about this. No, I've never seen this. Adonis. Yeah, it's more or less identical to everything else, right? So all of this exists in Fastify, and yeah, this looks fine. I would easily use this. There's nothing here that looks special or anything like that. It's a normal stuff. There's some things that don't belong in the framework, you could say, maybe. Like mailer shouldn't be here. No sane person is going to use its own SMTP to send emails. Anybody who knows anything about emails understands that you need a well-trusted email provider to do that, so your emails are not sent to spam directly, right? But yeah, this looks fine, and you know, we had this thing for many years already, things like this, and this more or less looks like, this is inspired probably by this is probably I see. Okay, then that's very good. Yeah, I like this. I mean, honestly, it looks very good. Yeah, nothing to add. Standard stuff, I would say. Yeah, health checks, why not? I mean, again, a lot of these things are questionable, should they exist in a library or not. To their defense, they do say that they are framework, I suppose. I think, yeah. So to their defense, the core question when you choose technologies like this, right, is do you want a library or a framework? That is the core question, right? So how opinionated you want to be, or how less opinionated you want to be as an individual. So, and this makes a lot of choices for you. And if you're happy with choices that they made, that's a great choice to make. I make choices based on different scenarios, different things. So I would probably not choose this because it made too many choices for me. I don't need this, for example, right? I do these things differently. I don't need this. I don't need this. I would never I would never rate limit my API on an API level. That's fundamentally wrong. You rate limit either on your reverse proxy level, on your Nginx level, on your traffic level, or even before that, right? So again, this is for those of you who were long enough in this industry. Express.js, when it was released, it had most of these things. And then the authors of Express realized that they're shipping way too much in the core of the library itself. So then they separated into different packages, right? But again, for someone who doesn't also have much experience with, hey, what is a health check, right? What is this? This is fine, right? Okay, great. If it's in separate packages and you can install it, then great. But again, yeah, this seems to be fully inspired by Fastify, and I personally, if I'm writing JavaScript, this is my choice of library, right? And the reason why besides certain decisions, is that Matteo Collina, the creator of this, is somebody that I highly respect. I think he's a great engineer, and he's been a part of Node.js committee for many years. So for me, this is what I use if I'm writing JavaScript on the back end, and I will probably continue to use this for many years. But again, is that a better choice than something else? Not necessarily. It's just my choice, right? So again, you can see like there's a meme, right, that there's a new JavaScript framework every 10 seconds. So there's always going to be new solutions coming out, and that's great. That's good for us community, because then we can make, we have sufficient choices to make. Let me just see, like, it seems to me that, let me just see what's happening here, because I made this component, I suppose, very long ago. Base class gap, okay. Okay, so it actually does work. I see. Okay, and that's actually better. Wow. Okay, that was super strange. All right. Anyway, but great discussions. I really like it. Okay, so actually, what I'm gonna do here, this is a bit arbitrary, but let me see. I would say that Nest.js, right, is I would say that Nest.js is a little bit different, right? I would actually agree with you, but not for the same reasons, right? I would say that Nest.js is a little bit different because it is a very different thing, right? So Nest.js is a very event-driven oriented framework, if you may, right? So Express is not a framework, Fastify is not a framework. They're just almost like a very simple abstractions over the HTTP library. Nest.js is a full-fledged opinionated framework, and it is kind of a love and hate relationship, primarily because it is liked by those who are fans of domain-driven design, right? And Nest.js is using event emitters and it's a more of a so. But I agree with you. But again, not because it's good or bad. this is my UI. This is the library I built. If you're asking about the editor or the website, I'm not sure what you're asking about. Okay, so let me actually go back to this form group thing, because I guess I like that form group thing. Let me actually try to do some things here. Let's pretend. Yeah. They didn't build it. They didn't build it either. It's a fork of VS Code, right? So, okay. Form group. Okay, I see. Okay, so let me do a couple of things. So actually, let's use AI, because this UI work is boring me a bit, and I've never tried this Composer 1. So let's actually do it like this. But yeah, the hooks that are also a library that I wrote as well. What the hell is going on? I didn't do anything. What is it doing? What the bro. I literally didn't tell you to do anything. What are you doing, bro? Jesus Christ. All right. Jesus. Okay, calm down, man. It's fine. Use event form management. Oh yeah. Yeah, sorry. This is not a. Yeah, this is just. This is just. I mean, these are just custom hooks, but I think this is still using my use AJV form. Yeah. So this use AJV form is the validation library I wrote, and then it's just used inside of this custom hook, right, to call different services and stuff like that. Okay, so what I'm gonna tell this guy is, let's improve our form group, and then we're actually gonna have to move this to my core library, because I can see it's still here, and add some border around them, and then ensure that our event form has them properly used, aka that different parts of the form are properly grouped. Let's see, and then we're gonna move this as part of our core library, and then we need to fix the AJV schema, right? Okay, and this is the first time I'm using their composer bullshit, so it seems pretty fast, to be honest. Wow, this is pretty awesome, to be honest with you. Okay, let's see what it's gonna do. Okay, sure, yeah, okay. To be honest, yeah, that wasn't terrible at all. Wow. Yeah, that is pretty fascinating. I've never tried this new thing. Let's see what it did, of course, before we praise it. Yeah, that's what I would do manually as well. Yeah, that's quite awesome. Okay, cool. Form group, blah blah blah. Let's make this a flex call gap 6 or whatever. Sure. Thank you very much for your follows, guys. Yeah, that is yeah, you could say acceptable. Let's just take a look at a couple of things here, and then we can move this. So yeah, so if bordered, yeah, this is kind of dumb. Yeah, this is not very smart, right? So yeah, it did it, but why didn't you use class names module instead of creating a completely new markup based on this condition? Yeah, so this is kind of dumb. Yeah, so it's fine if we left it like this, it would still be correct, but it's just arbitrary. It just wrote a bunch more code than it's supposed to, right? You can see now we cut the code in twice and it still does the same stuff. So this is still the main danger, of course, of AI, is that on the surface it makes things look good, and again, this wasn't like it's like, yeah, this is terrible, no, but it's still, yeah, it almost duplicated the amount of markup for no reason, right? So it was dumb in that sense. Okay, well, let's leave it like that, I suppose. Okay, but that really is not an issue that we have. So a little bit of a harder issue here relates to the library that I wrote, is that we have a conditional and other JSON validator schema, which we'll probably find somewhere here. Yes, here it is. And this schema, and generally when it comes to JSON schemas, typically the main pain with those schemas is conditional validation, right? So sometimes, so if I choose location type remote, then, or on-site, so you can see how based on the condition, we are showing a different input, right? So this is the problem that you must have faced in your career if you ever worked with forms, right? So hey, if it's a hybrid location, well, there can be an address and a meeting link if there is one, right? So we need to kind of do this a bit better, because also, I mean, this whole platform is built, this whole platform is built inside of this stream, so a bunch of it is just very quick. So let's kind of figure out what it is that we want to do. So this is almost like we need a spec first to understand before we fix what, right? There's nothing broken here. It's the only thing that's broken is our expectations, right? So let's try to figure that one out. So we have, let's open this super cool tool. It's called Notepad. And let's just write a couple of things down. So we have location types, remote and site hybrid. So we have remote on site hybrid. And then we have conditional things. So if it's remote, then we have if remote, show meeting link required. If on site, show the location field address, but also an optional meeting link, right? Because let's imagine I'm holding a meetup here in Copenhagen. I might be physically present somewhere, but I also might stream from that physical location. And hybrid, if hybrid, show basically hybrid and on-site, I suppose, could be different. If hybrid, same as on-site, I suppose, right? And you can probably hear my baby crying, being there with my wife. Okay, so that's kind of it. That's the expectation, right? Now, yeah. So I think this, okay. So now the way we're gonna fix this, obviously, because we don't want to be, and this is where I love AI a lot. I don't need to go through these, through this very strange JSON spec here and JSON schema in this case, but I'll actually start a new session, not to pollute that context, and say, let's fix this schema so the conditions are correct. I don't know what that is. GDT, what is SAST? SAST. Okay, let's read. So if on site, then location is required, and then event URL. So show this. I mean, I do all sorts of security. You would need to do that. You need to be a bit more specific. I don't know all of these terms, right? I do also. I don't know what is a static application security testing. Afnan Malik on YouTube. Hey man, how you doing? Okay, so let's see, show address. Okay, now let's also update and the custom use event form hook to reflect that. How long have you been using Cursor and AI in general? I mean, I've used AI to help me as my assistant since day one, so probably for like 4 years now, since I had access. And it's fascinating. It's amazing. I've been writing code for 20 years, so what I don't want to do anymore is So what you're looking, so this type of stuff, I never for the rest of my life, I want to write manually, ever. HTML, like a JSON and stuff, it's completely useless, invaluable, and you cannot do it faster than a computer. So what I do now is what I know best, is I know exactly what I want, and automate. But exactly. I think I still call AI regex on steroids, because exactly that's what it does for us. It's like this stuff I never want to write again. I mean, all of these components I have designed and built. Like the whole library is built by me. But now, because I built it and I know exactly how it works, I want to simply coordinate with this assistant on what it is that I want. And it's absolutely impossible physically for me to do it faster. So this is not about can I or can I not do. It's meaningless. It's like you see how quickly these changes are done when you know what it is that you want to do. So of course you have to do it. I mean, I'm proud of every single line of code I write, every single of these components, backend, front end, my infrastructure. It's very well written, it's tested, it's secure. So that's of course what you need to ensure to do when you do it. But to write these things manually, it's just silly, right? So GDT, if you're talking about some static analysis, yes, I mean, but I don't do that manually. So if you're talking about some sort of static analysis, that's where my CI does for me, right? So, you know, that's typically what happens on a CI level, not in my text editor or my IDE, right? I got to know how to prompt better from you. That's great. I'm very happy to hear that, man. But yeah, exactly, right? So it's absolutely impossible to be faster, right? I don't use anything else. I mean, I only use this, what you see here. Enter URL should be a valid URL. Okay, so, and then for on-site meeting link, let's see. So let's take a look at this. Where is it? Schema. So if we take a look at this, meeting link, okay. No, so we actually don't need that, right? So we'll just hard code this string, right? Yeah, I think they released their own recently, right? Okay, great. Meeting link address, yeah. And actually, I've seen this. We need to update our core library. That's great. What is that we want to do? Yeah. So this is actually not required. So let's see why are we getting it as required. So where is that? What did we just update? Yeah, this thing here. And then we need to ensure when I build this library, we need to actually ensure that this yields the right state, right? And I'm actually not sure. So let's kind of validate this schema form. So let me actually just print the form here. And then we'll actually see if maybe we'll need to update the library that I wrote many years ago. So if we do update here is valid false, then if we take a look at the state of this, right, we'll probably find that, what is this, meetup link. We call it meetup link, yes. So event URL. I don't think the AI will fix this. These are the libraries I wrote, so I know it better than AI. So no, is required false. So this is actually correct. So the state is actually correct. So that's good. So that is not a problem. So something is my use AJV form library is the problem, right? So in the library that I wrote long ago, this guy, something here is the problem. Do you have a clear roadmap? No, I do not. I mean, I don't want to build a business around this. I'm building this platform as a very, very long-term project. I wouldn't call it a technical challenge to say. I just do this for fun. I stream every now and then. You know, I might stream today and then I might not stream in 3 months from now. So no, but it is something that's online. I think we have around 2,000 developers already signed up over this time. But no, I don't have a timeline. I don't think I will ever have a timeline. I have 2 kids and a wife and a full-time job and a lot of responsibilities outside of this. So no, I'm just doing, I'm just doing it when I can, and I will be doing it like this for probably many years, slowly. And yeah, that is the only plan. So the only plan is basically to do that. But I think going back to this, I think the issue is in this library I wrote a couple of years ago, right? So I wrote my own validation library that this project is using, and actually, if we go to our front end, no, if we go to some Vita config somewhere, right? So you can see that I use local aliases. So technically, I should be able to. Yeah, so I do have direct alias here, so that's good. So in theory, if I go to this library I wrote, and we put a log in there, we should be, because this is kind of a pain, this is not monorepo of any kind, and also we're not doing any linking. But if I just put a console log here, let's see if we're gonna get it in here, or do I need to, let's see. Or maybe we also need to do, like, where is it, use AJV form here, right? So we're gonna do a file like this, I believe. And then if we go over here, right, and we do this. I don't know if I have to build, but in theory it should already be working. In theory it should already be working. Let's see. Use AJV form. Let's put it inside somewhere here. Because we would need to fix that, but let's actually see how come that I'm not getting any. No, I did npm install, but it shouldn't be needed because I'm linking directly to the source files, not to the build, right? I mean, in theory, this also shouldn't be. Actually, I know why. I remember, because I'm using environmental variables for this, right? So I'll just set this to true now, and actually it should work. Let's wait for this for the server to restart, right? But we should be seeing it now. I think, yeah, where is this? Also, let me just make sure that yeah, that's also correct. Yes, sure. Use AJV form. That's also correct. Let me try this again. I would like to fix this, because also this library is not only used by me. There's some people, also at work, we have a project that's using this. So it would be actually nice to fix this. Crap. Let's see. Shit. So where is this? Let's find a stack trace of that. So in theory, it should be working already, I think. Let's actually try to revert this and see. Oh shit, wait a minute. Because this is running inside a Docker container, right? So technically, let's try to just yeah, because sometimes volumes in Docker will fail, especially when it comes to the install. So let's kind of nuke this container, and let's run our shell script again. So let's go to the infrastructure where our Docker compose is. Let's start this again. I don't actually think it's that, but worth trying out. Interesting. Okay. Okay, is our alias correct? Let's check. Yeah. Yeah, it is. Okay. Let's try like this. Just root to root. I don't think that's gonna work though, but let's give it a shot. Go one level up, use HAV form, src. Okay, let's take a look at the files. Yeah, src, we have an index. How did I do this? This has been so long. We exported types. Yeah, that kind of maybe sucks, right? So let's, or does it? Let's actually see. Okay, let's actually use this. This is a very good case now for AI. So given our packages, let me try from one of the other libraries I wrote from, let's say Louis GUI and Vite. Yeah, ensure that our use HAV form is properly exported, because it is an open source library already deployed to npm. So let's see how this new model does. I haven't again used it, so I have no idea what to expect, but let's give it a chance at least. All right, yeah, exactly. So this what we kind of miss in other places. It moves the types there. It moved the types there. Okay, let's see what it did. Added modules. Okay, that's correct. Added exports with types and imports. Sure. Normalized the paths. Kept main and types for backwards compatibility. Modern bundlers. Blah blah blah. Sure. Okay. Did that actually change anything for us whatsoever? I don't think so. Let's try that again. So let's try to go into our core project. Try to install now. Okay, cool. I mean, honestly, Cranberry, always make your own conclusion, right? Maybe that is true. Maybe it isn't true, right? Who knows? But it's always better to make your own conclusion. So why is our alias for use HAV form not working properly? We'll see. I mean, again, as I always say, the output that you're going to get from a human being or an AI text matching algorithm is going to be as good as your input, right? So if you are incapable of articulating your thoughts and what it is that you're trying to achieve, then okay. I'm not so sure about this, to be honest with you. Yeah, let's try to solve it with this robot, because this is not the type of work, honestly, I want to do. This is completely administrative and boring, and something that probably there was a regression at one point, because I have so many of these projects, so many of these open source libraries that yeah, this is absolutely fucking terrible. What is it doing? Like, what the hell are you doing, man? Yeah, that's all pretty terrible. Yeah, all wrong. Okay, so yeah, that's bad. Yeah, that's bad for sure. Not correct. Pretty bad. Let's actually see what it did. We need to revert a bunch of that crap. Which project is it? This one, yeah, exactly. So we obviously did a bunch of stuff there. Sure, all correct, yes. All right, so that's correct. Now, yeah, for some reason, where is it? Where is it? Where is it? All right, let's also revert that and see if we can kind of get out of this shitty state now. But most of the libraries here are built by me, right? Most of the stuff, things that we have here. So fundamentally, we need to now, I want to fix this validation library I wrote many years ago. Or not many years ago, but several years ago. It's called use AJV form, and it's just it used to work, but it's been many. I don't know when I updated this last time, 6 months ago. So yeah, but it's this thing, right? It's a validation library that's isomorphic, so I can share JSON schema from Fastify and my UI and have it. So I built this because of Fastify, because Fastify on a router level validates your query parameters, URL parameters, bodies, and responses. You can now plug that into the use AJV form, and you can also send the AJV errors directly from your API to the UI, and then it's going to render them. So it's just now, it's been a while since I worked with it, since I updated it, right? So now we need to, thank you very much for your follows. So now you can see this local path is no longer resolving, and I honestly don't know why. And it's not a fun thing to fix because it's stupid and meaningless, and I just don't want to do that in a stream, and I don't stream very often, so I don't want to use the stream time. But as you can see, there's for sure a bug in my library itself because the state inside of it is not properly updated. So if we actually go to use AJV form, if we go inside of an index, let's actually go to a file explorer. So this is the core library file. So somewhere in here, right, I have a bug where for whatever reason the is valid form is not properly. You can see this is the object. This is how the form object looks like. This is how I designed it many years ago. This data is the form data, and then we have this is dirty and is valid. So you can see here is valid is false. So is valid hasn't been updated properly when this conditional schema has changed, right? So you can see if I say remote, so this is now constantly like, so the state should now be actually updated, right? So because even after I interact with this thing, the state of that form should have been recalculated, right? There is a maybe way to fix this, like as I remember how I built this library itself. Here would be actually, we could in theory, inside of this custom hook that I wrote here, we could have a form listened for on a form object. So this is like how you use the library itself. So we could do something like this, use effect, right? We could listen to form dot let me actually give me 2 seconds before we do it. I don't want to introduce these effects for no reason. So if we print the state again, hey there, hey moron, sorry, I know, I remember you, dude. How you doing? How's life? So here's the formed state. That's not necessarily what we need, but essentially what we can do is we could reevaluate. So we could write an expression saying, hey, because we know the nature of this form, so we can say, hey, whenever the location changes, reevaluate the state, because we know that this is kind of the conflicting part in this form. Like changing one of these three changes what is, you can see, required in here. So if I choose remote, we need meeting link. If I choose on site, we need the address and optional meeting link. So that's what we could in theory do, right? So we could, so here we could, like, instead of introducing an additional kind of side effect, we could say, and actually I hate that this is not an early return, so let's do that. Yeah, okay. But then we can also say use effect. So it forms that form.data dot what did we say? Location type changes, right? So we only want to trigger this effect. Then let's just print something, right? For now. Yep. Okay. So technically now if we change it right over here. Oh, that's, and we should probably remove, where is that? Oh, actually did we, oh yeah, I see what's happening. Use HAV form index. Actually, we're getting this thing now, so wow, what? No, I'm using my own library that I wrote. I'm not using React form, no. Well, I mean, it is nice for this project, yes, but technically, do you want to build your own validation libraries and stuff? No. For this project, yes, because this is quite a large project and it makes sense to be cohesive with all the other, you know, yeah, I built a bunch of systems for this project because the project itself benefits from them. But if you just need something to validate a form somewhere, right? Then yeah, you definitely don't want to do this. Where the fuck is this coming from, bro? Oh yeah, but didn't we reinstall it? Like, what is happening? Do I need to restart or remove the Docker container? Let's see. I mean, I can do many things, but I don't want to do it. That's exactly what I'm saying. That's absolutely irrelevant. There's 7 billion of these libraries, right? I could use anything. You could use anything, anywhere, in any context, in any project, right? So that's clear, right? But should you? I mean, you could say that basically You could say that for pretty much every single, you know, for anything in life, especially in programming. You could use anything for anything, right? Okay, cool. So now we can actually use some of the stuff that I built inside of that library, right? So if we go somewhere, where was this crap? Here, right? Yeah. So here I can say, hey, if the location changes, then say form dot. I think I have the validate thing, right? But that's not what I really want. What is the stuff that I, yes, form dot, nah. Actually, when I implemented this reset, I think this resets the whole form, if I recall. Wait, I don't remember. Let me see. So if we go to it, yeah, this reset. So that's not what we want, but we wanna let's take a look at the interface of this. So if we take a look at, not at the options, it's a generic. Yeah, right. So this is kind of what we want to do. We want to, or we want to revalidate, right? But this should be internally called anyway. So that's why it would be better if we just, okay, but let's just say call the validate again. So that doesn't kind of help us much. Yeah. So we could reset these other fields, right? So we could now reset the these other fields to their initial states, but I don't like this. I think it would be simply better to fix this properly, but we would need to link this thing, right? Okay, let's try to use Yelk for this, right? So let's take a look at Yelk, and this in theory could help us. Okay, yeah, shit, but yeah, okay, let's try that. This is quite a big error. Okay, let's set up Yolk for our more specifically for linking our local version of use AJV form. Let's try that. And even if we have to manually build it, right, that's still fine. But yeah, I need to fix this because this technically will be broken pretty much everywhere. And then I'll actually start looking. Yeah, okay, that's correct, sure. Let's take a look at the code. Yeah, and this is standard with Yolk, right? One repository you publish, another one you kind of and in another place you consume it. So this is yeah, this is nothing uncommon. This is fairly standard. But let's go back to that though. So what we're gonna do now is we're gonna go to HAV form. So we're gonna find that thing, and then we're gonna so we're gonna either publish or push, and then we're gonna consume it there. So yeah, so make changes to HAV, build it, push out changes, right? And then in the other repository we need to consume it. So yeah, build the HAV form, publish, and then we link it in there. Okay, so let's kind of do this, right? So we're gonna do pnpm yolk publish, and let's actually make a little change. So if we go to use AJV form index, let's just we need to make sure that it actually the linking worked. Console.log, the linking worked. Now we're gonna say pm yolk publish, pm yolk push. What was it? What was it that it created? Yolk push changed. Okay. Okay, cool. And then we go in here, and then we consume it, right? So we do we do the linking. So whatever. So where was it? Yeah, here it is. So blah blah blah. Sure. Okay. Let me just make sure that I revert what I had in there. Yolk. No, I mean, what was it? Use HAV form. Okay. So there is a symlink. Now, I think if we go to package.json now of this project, right? Should actually be able to see the symlink icon. So if we go to front end, if we go to node modules, programmer network, and yolk, and you can see both Yale and actually, so there is a symbolic link. I don't actually see there. That's a bit weird. This is not programming, friend. I mean, it's better than your English, my friend, at least. Okay. So let's take a look at that, right? So let's see if we actually see. So I guess we'll need to let's try actually. Let's see if we see any log here. Not yet. Let's try building this again. Use HAV form. Yeah. And then let's go here. Mm-hmm. What do you think of TRPC? I actually haven't worked much with TRPC. I've worked with gRPC. I worked with some other protocols like when I worked with Electron, which was like one directional protocol. But I don't think anything of TRPC, unfortunately. I don't know much about it. I haven't checked the spec or what it is that it solves. All right. So yeah. So the linking doesn't seem to work, at least. Honestly, I'm actually not sure if it even linked it properly. And also we have this aliasing here, which I'm not quite sure if it's messing it up. Let's also try enabling this and see if it does anything. I have a React function that does something like this: React previous state. I mean, feel free to try pasting the function here, and let's take a look at it together. Let me actually try to copy paste that text and see if I can help. Because I have a React function that looks like this, or a set previous state, set prefix. Aha, okay. Let me just remove this set hash. Well, I mean, yeah, so each one of these is an asynchronous action, right? But this now becomes, the core question of this becomes now, so yeah, Cursor is super excited. This boils down right to, I mean, state is a very complex subject in a way of how you compose it, right? Or how you think about it. This also could have been a single object, right? So you could have literally had like const, state, and then you could have had this as well, right? So it really boils down to how you think of a state. That's why a majority of people fail with state on all levels of state, either local state, long-term state, short-term state, caching, backend state, right? State spans across many layers, right? A network state, right? So this is also the hardest part. One of the hardest parts of programming is caching, right? And naming things, but also you could have also written it like this, right? And then update just parts of the state. But yes, this is asynchronous. So again, like, this is only problematic if you had something that has to happen here before this happens, right? Because this is not synchronous, right? You're not gonna wait for them to happen in order. So there's no problem. There's nothing wrong with your code as long as you are fine to wait for these things to happen, right? Because they will happen in random order, you could say, right? Yeah. Okay, hope that helps. All right, going back to this, of course, man, my pleasure. Just think about your state. There's nothing more important. Think about your state. It's a very important. It's almost like, think about it as almost as if you were data modeling your database, right? Your Postgres, your Neo4j, your Cassandra, your MySQL, your whatever, MongoDB, right? You have to think about that, about the state in the same fashion. What state does it make sense to exist as a cohesive group, and what state does it make sense to be separated into its own state variables, right? And AI is great to help to go back and forth with that and try to find specific reasoning why, right? So this is why it's important that you design your components in such a way, you know, that where it makes sense. How does the React docs put it? I honestly have no idea, Brainy, and good to see you again, man. How you doing? There's no, again, be very careful how you use words better or worse, right? These words cannot exist in engineering, right? These are all different tools, right? Context is a way to pass state by avoiding prop drilling, right? So it's not better or worse, it's a tool. And maybe you should use that for your given problem, maybe not, right? But these are very different tools, right? Context is a way for you to create some state somewhere and then consume it somewhere else by avoiding passing that state nested through each component that's in the middle. So you have a component 1 and component 5, and you don't want to pass that state to component 2 and 3 and 4 just so it gets to 5, right? So, but that has nothing to do with your question, right? This is two different things. You have the state, and then how do you pass or consume that state somewhere? So these are very two different things. They're not related. They're two different problems. Okay, how do I design my state, and how do I pass my state, right? This is what yeah. Yeah, I'm actually not sure like why this crap doesn't work, to be very frank with you. So it says that it added a symlink, which let's trust it. We can't really do this because, let me actually take a look at my Docker Compose here. Take a look at my infrastructure over here. And when we look, actually, do I even have the front end? Yeah, we have the front end dev, sure. profiles dev. We have some traffic labels here. Labels front end, blah, blah, blah. env file app Louis. Okay, shit. This is why, man. We didn't create a volume. That's why it didn't work. Crap. That sucks ass, man. Okay. So that's why it didn't work. All right. That's why it didn't work. I see. Okay. So let's go back to let's go back here. Let's actually just to be safe, let's kill this bad boy here, because I don't think that we even needed Yelp for this. I just forgot that there was no volume created in the Docker Compose, right? So let's get here. Cool, right? Let's see if there's any difference now, but I think that this was more or less the issue, right? Brainy, thank you very much, man. I'm very glad to hear that. Very glad to hear that. Okay, right, great. So we did create that volume there. That should help, I think. Yeah, that's also cool. Let's now actually try, instead of Yelp, let's try this. Let's just try using the direct source path there instead of using Yelp. Gonna be a tough one, but let's see. There we go. Okay. Because, yeah, I remember that I had it working long ago. Okay, and let's actually go to use AJV form and index, and let's try to update this thing to see if it's actually live or not. And it is. Super. Okay, good. So that's good. All right, so now we can start fixing it, actually. And then we need to redeploy it, blah, blah, blah. And actually, at one point in time, I've added some logger here. So I created like a mini logger somewhere. So this is creating this is just calling the logger constructor. And Plaren, hi there. Thank you very much for coming. Yeah. I mean, look, again, I built all of these libraries and stuff in this stream, right? So typically you wouldn't do this as a single person. And also, yeah, this is not something I work every day on, right? This is something that lives on the internet, and when I have the time, I do it. So I'm not surprised, to be honest, that you know, that I forgot about it. But it's fine. That's it. You're right. Sometimes it's literally silly things like this that crap. Okay, so let's now see what's happening. So now, because I've actually because I am linking to the source files now, very good. Now we can start debugging, right? So if I get back here and update, it's saying event here. So we can see that so I already know actually what the issue is. When I designed this library, the initial state of the form is valid false. So this is what I just remembered. And actually, probably somewhere, if we take a look at the state, right, there will be that is valid is initially false. So essentially, one of the reasons that why this doesn't work, that's my first assumption, is that's the reason, right? So we don't so when the form gets the update data, when it loads with the actual data, it should revalidate on mount, right? And let's see if it does that now. So that is the problem. So somewhere over here, most likely. So let's actually also, of course, because this is quite long and I wrote this long ago, let's when I actually wrote this, I didn't use AI. So let's see, like, let's ask AI to evaluate this. And I'm gonna switch to this sonnet here. So when I wrote this library, I didn't have you to review it. So let's do that now. I believe that there could be a bug in it, and that is when we load the initial data, etc. Form gets the data. We do not re-evaluate the is valid state. Let's start there. This is my assumption, because it just hit me that form by default is invalid, because when you open a new form, it's empty. So you cannot, we cannot allow you to submit the empty form, right? It makes absolutely zero sense. So let's see what this guy says, right? Okay, you're absolutely right. The critical bug here, let me analyze the issue. The initial state ref is created with use ref, which only initializes once. True. Problem: if the initial prop changes when you load form data from API after the initial render, the form state won't update, and is valid won't be recalculated for the new date. This is common scenario. Form renders with empty default initial data. API calls, completes, returns actual data. Parent component passes the initial prop. Form doesn't update. Bug. Missing dependency in use memo for is valid. The AJV validate function should be in the dependency array to it's technically stable. Yeah, this is questionable. Schema changes aren't handled. If the schema prop changes, the form doesn't reinitialize. Yeah, but the schema is never going to change, so that's wrong. Okay, but schema is static. It will never change. You're right, Alex. The schema is validation rules and should be static. Okay, let's see what it did. Okay, I actually don't like this code at all, but let's validate it. Let's see what it did. I hate that it had to cast. Why does it have to cast? That makes no sense. What? Where is this coming from? Nah. So we for sure need to, yeah, do the is equal thing, so that's fine. But I think... Yeah, okay, let's cast first. Let's actually, okay, before we get too crazy about making this amazing, let's actually see if this works now. Yeah, now we're getting a, yeah, so now it failed with, now it introduced, so now it added an effect somewhere that basically introduces the Stack Overflow, basically, right? So that's not gonna work, and that's probably happening for the AJV validate here, which is a stable function. Let's see, or maybe not. Let's see. So something, yeah, nah, okay. Oh no, this is where it's happening. Okay, wait a minute. Yeah, that's kind of where it's happening. Okay, so this is where it's failing. Let's see just which effect makes it re-render. Probably the initial state, right? Yeah. So this just keeps calling itself. So that is the problem. Okay. So let's tell it that causes infinite loop because it keeps calling itself. Doru, my friend, I love you, dude. Thank you very much, man. If you're free later or tomorrow for hangout in for a coffee, let me know, dude. We go and meet somewhere. Please just ping me. Just ping me like when you wake up, just so I can plan because of you know, wife and kids and shit. Nah, still happening. Nah, yeah, no. Okay, all right. So AI has failed, and that's fine. We tried, and we need to fix it ourselves, right? Because yeah, it just miserably failed, as I assumed it will. So let's take a look at it together. Okay, so we know that, at least I assume, is that yeah, as soon as we load the form. So there's something wrong with this conditional schema thing. So we load the form, and meetup link actually isn't even yeah, here. So this thing is problematic. Wasn't there like so if it's on site, only location is required, right? And that's fine. And we can also see that our use AJV form hasn't set is required true for this, but it is required here. Oh shit. I constantly keep getting an error for event URL, even though it's not required when on-site is selected. I wonder if it's due to a format URI, which might like implicitly enforce the valid format, even though the field is not required. It could be easily the format, right? Because this, we could try this, and it probably was that. Yeah, now we're getting something else, which is good. We're getting something from the API registration deadline message. Fine, that's okay. Okay, let's see what is it gonna do. Ah, I see. Nah, that's terrible. No. No. That's really bad. No. Nah, that's fucking dumb. No. Okay. So this might fix it. Wait, where were we? Here. Yeah, but it's now complaining about the value being undefined, right? So it's kind of not gonna like that. Yeah, so I think the problem here, okay, I think this is a different problem now, right? I think this is a different problem. And I think that's, so it's not even that our library is bugged. I think that our initial state is wrong. Because the default state is an empty string, when we try to submit, we try to send it as event URL as an empty string, but there's still a constraint on it. So this either has to be removed if it's not there, or it has to be something that's kind of acceptable. So thank you very much for the follow. Appreciate it. So if we actually go here, we also need to update the interface of this, right? So most likely in here, I also have a shit, I don't, but we should be having some sort of a type here as well. Or are we actually inferring TypeScript schema from this? Because where was it? If we set nullable true here, and then if we go to the to here, we can do something like that, right? So we say, hey, initially it's null. Because this is the problem. Because I mean, if we remove it, it's gonna stop enforcing that crap. Yeah. So that is the problem. So how do we fix it? The only way to fix it, of course, would be to now say, to kind of literally remove this field, right? So literally at this point in time, we would need to clean up the form, like remove that field and then call the validate, because now validate is going to call, we're going to call validate is going to see, oh, that field is null. And then it's going to say, hey, well, it cannot be null because you want the format to be URI. Type min length, yeah, format URI. Okay, so not to waste any more time on this, unfortunately, time that I don't have, we'll solve it like this. And then, the fuck is this? Okay. We'll do that, and at this point, it should work, and it does. Now we have some API validation issue, which is fine, and it's basically just saying, hey man, you cannot schedule this event. You cannot schedule the event in the past, right? I guess. I'm not sure. Yeah. So, and that is correct, even though we need to respond with that. So if we go to like the future, see what it is now. Is it still the same? That was my assumption, at least. We'll go to the API. Registration deadline must match format, blah, blah, blah. Okay, where is that field? It's a date, allow null, true, sure. So this is my faker, that's useless. Okay, have a type format date time. Type optional format date time, sure. Registration deadline. Oh, I see. Okay. Actually, so that's fine. That's fine. I literally think that we don't have registration deadline. Wait a minute. When did I introduce that and why? Really? I don't think that we even have that. Do we have that in our model? Oh, we do. Okay. Let's take a look at our database here locally. If we take a look at meetup event here, let's actually look at the table. So we have registration deadline. Okay, I see. So I can see. So when we modeled this table, I kind of probably assumed that we can use this field to disallow well, I mean, either this field or like if we don't have this deadline, then we use the event starting point to say you cannot and you cannot apply to this thing anymore. Okay, that's fine. All right, and basically we're saying, hey, Alex, what you're sending is not really date and time, so it actually doesn't like this. So I think what we need to do is we need to actually go here, a date time column correct. But our HAV doesn't like it, right? So our JSON validator doesn't like it. So we need to check which format is this, like, right? Because we use datetime there, but it's saying, so if we take a look at HAV datetime spec, we need to figure out what it is that it expects. So datetime, time zone is mandatory, okay? Date, according to RFC 3399. Yeah, so in theory, we could We could change this to date, I suppose, and see if it works then. Yeah, I don't know. Let's try that again. No, is it the same? Okay, no, it doesn't like that either. Okay. So let's ask the AI. Why is this timestamp, let's call it, fails the date time? No, I haven't tried ISO. I haven't tried, like, we can try converting it. I just want to understand. It's not about fixing it. It's more about, let's see what this expects, because there's no RFC on this. Time zone mandatory. Like, we can see here that date, time, date, this is what we're using. Time zone is mandatory. So actually, I don't know why it fails. So you can see it is a valid ISO 8601, right? So it's not invalid. It's just unclear with this validator what it actually is. So that is kind of what sucks, right? So it is valid RF 3339. Yeah, I don't want to do this, man. Like, that's fucking dumb. No, stop, man. Like, yeah, this thing is very annoying, dude. Like, so this is the problem with AI. It's actually not a problem with AI. It's problem goes both ways. It's my problem. But anyway, I think what we need to fix here is we need to ensure that this guy here yields the right thing, right? So let's find where that is, and let's fix that instead. So what do I have? I have my own date picker component, I suppose, somewhere. Yes. And we need to ensure that, let's tell it, you are fixing a wrong problem. Let's ensure that yields the right time. I'm not sure what you mean, F moron. Like, where exactly are you using your own video calling platform for? What? Yeah, yeah. So to ISO string could be a problem. Okay, that's perfect. This is gonna work, Alex. That's not perfect, man. Jesus Christ. Should be in date time format. Yeah. Yeah, that's pretty terrible, actually. So let's see what happens if we just store it. Now we can't. Okay. 2. I mean, I don't want to remove this format. These formats are great, man, because they help a lot with proper validation, right? We don't want people, and we have them on, of course, obviously, both ends. It's just, it's very unclear what is wrong with this one, right? Because if we look at this, what type of timestamp did we give it here? Format isn't working, you might need to ensure that formats are loaded with correct mode. Update your validation config, time zone, date time. Yeah, this is a hard one, man. This is a hard one because working with dates is very, very tough. Am I actually using Luxon? We have Luxon installed. Can we use? But isn't that what we're doing already? I think that's what we're doing already, Chica, right? I think that's what we're doing now. At least I thought that we are using Luxon. Okay, I'm actually not using never mind. Never mind. I'm using yeah, I actually forgot that I nuked the date and time from Luxon. Okay, let's see what it's gonna come up with. Create a Luxon. No, that's not gonna. Yeah, but this is wrong, right? It doesn't like it. No, nah, that's not gonna do it. No. So it's still a invalid. It's still invalid relative to this. Relative to what is it called? The format specified in AJV, right? In the JSON schema. And let's actually see what it yields when we do this. Also, why are we doing this? We should format this elsewhere. Ah, it's because I see. So let's see, what do we do? And the time zone, you can see here, I'm basically inferring from the user's browser, so that's okay. Let's see, what is it doing now? Okay. Nah, still doesn't like it though. And if it doesn't like it, let's see. Yeah, but it doesn't, like, this now absolutely makes no fucking sense, because it's AJV. So the format basically, so yeah, this now makes absolutely no sense, right? Because it cannot work on the locally and not work in the API, right? So let's actually, what the hell is happening? Rebecca, my friend, hey. So how come that they differ? Type string, format, date, time. What if we just do this? Is this even a thing? Okay, wait, we need to wait for our API to restart, I suppose. Let's take a look at the logs. Yeah, wait a minute, where did we do that? Yeah, so what if we do this? and then this. Does that make any sense? Yeah, exactly. Failed to consider schema for blah 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 due to error schema date must be equal to one of the allowed values. Yeah, it's quite fascinating actually. Must match date time. Payload date time is this. Is there any example of date time? Any example of date time here? Is there an ISO date time? Does this crap exist? I have no idea. Mehmet on YouTube, hi. All right, all right. All right. Yeah, I don't fucking know, man. I have absolutely zero idea. You know what we're gonna do, though? No, but we need this to work just for the UX, right? Because we have a constraint on our table anyway. So if you try to type in banana here, it's gonna fail. But we need it to fail earlier, right, than later. So we need it to fail on the validation layer, not hitting our database, right? So this is necessary. This is necessary. It's just so fucking annoying. Registration. Oh crap, man, but wait a minute. Wait a minute. So wait a minute, like, is what the fuck? Yeah, maybe that's the problem, right? Because oh crap, this is man, guys, we've been fixing the wrong fucking problem the whole time. That's the problem. Oh my god, are you kidding me, bro? Jesus Christ. Okay, well, yeah, never mind. Just absence of mind. Okay, let's revert this. Beautiful, so nice. Just revert to that crap. Okay, so what we're obviously missing here is the input, right? So we have the schedule somewhere, right here. And then we need registration deadline. Input, that's what we so that's what we're missing, right? Is this an event form? Yeah, it is. Wait a minute, what? So this is what we missed, right? And then of course we need to update the state there. We need to update the schema as well. Yep. Mm-hmm. Exactly. And then Yeah. Now, of course, we would need to... So now we need to do some extra things here, right? Obviously, this is an optional field. But let's fix one problem at a time, right? So let's say that... Because these dates now need to make sense. So a deadline cannot be lowered, like higher than the event time and stuff like that. So anyway, so let's say deadline is 30, whatever, or let's say 31st or 1st. And the event starts on 5th, whatever, something like that. There we go. Jesus Christ. Okay, cool. Going back here, though. So there seems to be a type somewhere. Okay, good. So that, yeah, that makes it work now, right? No, this is the meetup. If we go to events and edit this. Yeah, there it is. Okay, so, well, we were fixing the wrong thing. Okay, anyway, let's now check the conditional validation on site remote. So it should be a valid link if I do this. Update works. No, I don't wanna do that. So let's go and check on site again. Okay, that works. Hybrid. Sure. But I saw one thing that I think we could fix in our library, right? So this thing here, right? Because, yeah, I think we need to kind of fix this. You can see here, like if I do this, right? That's great. That's kind of works. It's a valid URL. But if I remove a value from a non-required field, we should not be getting this error, right? So in our use AJB form, somewhere inside here, when I call validate on a single field, we need to account for that. Let's actually try to get some... Actually, let's first try to fix it ourselves, because I wrote this originally. Yeah, here it is, validate field. Field errors, get errors. And I think this is kind of problematic here, most likely, right? Maybe, let's see. Okay. Faz, thank you very much for the follow, man. That's very kind of you. Thank you. Yeah, so that's wrong. So this is yielding a handle blower. Validate blower, validate field, sure. So why is this giving us a wrong? And if it's actually invalid, then let's take a look at the HAV errors as well, because that makes no sense. Where is the error? Yeah, so I'll probably, I'll need to kind of go through this library It's been a year or so since I updated it. And I'll need to now when I have the AI, I'll be able to kind of just, because that is weird. That yields so the validate field kind of farts out a bit too much though. That makes no sense in this context. So yeah, I'll go through that, so it's fine for now. But yeah, that's one of the things that I would need to do. Okay, let's go to this thing. So that's at least fixed. Overall design of notify mode. Okay, the next thing, let me take a look at. But yeah, shit, man, there's a lot of stuff here. There's notify me thing. This looks absolutely terrible. All right, so let's do this. Let's do that. Let's replace that with our select input and ensure it's multi. Since when there is a guitar redeem? Since when is there a guitar redeem? What are you talking about, Rebecca? Where? Twitch points. I have no idea. Jesus Christ, man. Shut the fuck up. This AI sometimes is just terrible. It's not even written in English. I see. Oh yeah, I mean, yeah. There was Cedric. Yeah, maybe Cedric did that. I think Cedric did that. Yeah, most likely. I would think so. Yeah. All right, so I want to improve that one. I think it's better than that crappy checkbox. Nah, actually, it's not. It's not better. It's fine. We check it and then we realize that. I'm fine with that. But this also looks as like ass though. So what's up with our checkbox? Why is it rendering like that? That's way too big. Way too big. Text secondary. Text small. Yeah, I mean, with the time that I have and stuff, I think it's gonna be awesome. I think it will look amazing. Of course, it's taking us a long time because I want to do it in a stream and chat with you guys. But I don't care, honestly. I think it's fine. Let me just try one thing, just randomly. Okay, never mind. Yeah, I don't know. Just don't like how our where's our storybook? What's up with our checkbox? Like, does it really look like that? No, not at all. What the fuck is that then? Why does it look like that here? That's not our checkbox. What? So there's some discrepancy now. Yeah, since I removed that Tailwind prefix, there's some massive discrepancy there. because this is not how our checkbox looks like at all. So that is absolutely weird. And yeah, that I don't know why it fails to properly render locally, but I'm sure when we deploy this, it's gonna. I'm actually not sure, but yeah. Join event link. Add to calendar should open up the calendar. Yeah, it does. Okay. Yeah, it's this time-based stuff is, yeah, there's a lot of details to cover here for sure. A lot of details to cover here, but yeah, this form now is kind of fine. We need to show whatsoever. Yeah, so that's what we can. So let's kind of go to event details. Danielo, hi, good to thank you very much for coming to the stream, man. Is this event details? Let's see just where we are. Yeah. So we want to show here registration deadline as well. I guess we want to show it kind of grouped the same. Just giving some hints to the AI to... Not the picker, Jesus Christ, bro. And yeah, and now of course, yeah, we could have cleaned this data before it arrived into this component, because yeah, this is not a very nice looking date. So let's actually see where do we get this event from, because I'm sure that I do that on some other layer, right? So not inside the component. So if we take a look at this, we have use event, right? Yes, exactly. Okay. And then most likely we do some conversion somewhere over here. Okay, I'll leave it, but you can see all of these are very important details, right? So now we need to convert this for the user into something meaningful, right? So not showing the time zone and stuff, so that is fine. But also I believe like this is gonna play a massive role if we go kind of here and go here actually. And so we'll need to account for, so when we store this, right, we're storing the time zone as well and blah, blah. So we'll need to kind of showcase these things properly, right? Because this is kind of what we're storing, and then this is just, so I'll probably go with the AI offline and solve that problem, because we have a bunch of dates and we need to sure that they make sense, especially because obviously we have these notifications that you can subscribe to that, yeah, you know, they have to be accurate. So, you know. Okay, but for now then, I'll, yeah, some of these don't have this thing. So actually we also need to be careful about that. So let's just do conditional rendering here. So saying, hey, if this data exists, then use it, right? Okay. But I think most importantly for myself, I need to leave a note here. Yale doesn't properly Yale some GPL components locally are not properly rendered. So this is like probably one of the most important ones. Recurring events, calendar, optimize the query inside cron job, yeah, finalize cron job notifications, use, yeah, these are very simple, I think. So let's go and see. So let's go end to end. So let's just see what's left. So create another meetup. This is yet another meetup. Let's also do this country, Andorra, tags, some tags, image, let's imagine it's like this, that sucks as there, published. I wonder if this is gonna work. Okay, let's see. Create another meetup. Yeah, so there's no way to actually, so we have this other bug, right? So you can see if we go to this fella here and we search for card component, which is our like with compact, with pills, where it was, it's square image. There's no purchasing. This platform has no relation to money in any way. I'm building this feature now as a response to basically meetup.com, but I want to use it for my own stream. So I don't have a schedule now. So I want to use it to, yeah, to use it for my own stream basically. But none of this is paid. All of it is free. Yeah, that takes around 5 seconds, yes. That takes, actually no, it takes 3. If you have GitHub or whatever, it takes around 3 seconds, yeah. It takes 1 click, basically, with actions. Okay, so actually this does work indeed. So let's actually see why when I hover, it's not, is it a Z index? I think this is also another local problem, I think. Because I have a feeling that these actions now are shown but below the image, right? Very good. Yes, yes, yes. So here we have the pills. We have the, do we not have the actions? Or how do we call it? Title, tags. Yeah, there are many platforms for that. There's a platform for everything. For every single platform that exists on Earth, no matter the subjects, there are many other platforms. Yes, definitely. This is my abstraction over these dashboards. This is how my dashboards are very declarative. Okay, let me just make sure. Give me 1 second. Thank you very much for the follow, man. Appreciate it. Meetup config. So I believe this is the proper declarative config. Let's see. Dashboard meetups. Yes, sure. Yeah, yeah. This is now due to, yeah. That's kind of silly. I can do just a quick format on this, but summary. What is this? Dashboard header, tabs, events, and members. Transform event. I see. Okay. Sure. That is actually silly, so, that's fine. And then, yeah, I can see what's happening there, so we have the same issue. All right, but that has nothing to do with that. So why are these not fixed? Let's see. And there's actually, what the fuck is this? Why is this? Wait. What is this? Is this like is this even, is this something we just didn't remove over time? I think this is, sure. I didn't get a reply from you. I'm sorry, what did you ask? Ask it again. I don't see your message anywhere. Regarding if you're a teacher, I worked at the DTU, but I'm not a teacher. I didn't work as a teacher. I worked as a programmer there in administration. So I didn't teach at DTU. Yeah, I didn't teach there. I basically worked as a I worked there as a team lead for around a year, maybe a little bit less. Then I resigned because, yeah, I didn't like it very much. Dashboard meetups. The fuck? I'm so confused right now. So where, like, what? Where is this crap used then? Is it here? It is, okay, cool. So that makes absolutely no sense. What? I can absolutely say it's an amazing place to study. My feelings about why I left have nothing to do with that. DTU is one of the best IT schools in the whole Europe, and I think it's amongst 50 top universities in the world. So that place in education related is awesome, but work is one thing and education, what you're looking for there, is another. So would I suggest the DTU for education? Absolutely, I think it's an awesome place. But you know, the reason why I left when I worked there is vastly different than that. Vastly different. Okay, so that's clear now. Okay, so this other crap that I found is indeed, I see. Okay, good. All right, so we have dashboard meetups, we have create meetup. Nah, wait a minute. Dashboard meetups, yeah. Create meetups config, correct. Okay, good. So this is what we care about. Yes, finally. Jesus Christ. Can edit, true. Can delete, can view, sure. Navigation, edit path. Okay. And this is a single meetup, also fine. We don't care about that. So then it's something in here. So here we must be rendering some cards. Yeah, get card props. And then we have enhanced. I have this abstraction here. Oh, I see. And also we have this, which is wrong. So we should get rid of that, actually. Fix that. Import this properly. Let's clean that stuff up. Also base card data. What the fuck is this? Nice. Cool. That's better. iCard action. I'm building a platform for programmers, basically. That is online already for a long time. Search comes from indexing, so it must be accessed with the search. Yeah, I don't like that rule. I don't know, but yeah, it's fine. Let's just. These are some of the. Let's call them under quotes regressions. Okay, and then now. Yeah, absolutely, man. I mean, this. I'm not a content creator of any kind. Everything I say it how I think about it. So of course, man, just ask. I always say things that yeah, absolutely. That you will not get anything else. So just ask. Interesting. Wait. So card types. Okay, so we're getting this from card types. Oh, I see what's happened here. Yeah, I did some refactoring. Okay, no worries. All good, all good. So this should be actually iCard tag. I think iCard tag. Yes, exactly. Yeah, man. But people have different intentions and reasons why they do something based on what they need, right? I'm here just a random dude of streaming every now and then, so I have no exact I don't have any gains or benefits of saying this or that. I don't care. Yeah, I'll need to deploy a lot of this before we can test it online, but it's just one weird thing is that, yeah, we have a card here, we have actions, so we create no actions. If there's actions length, yeah, pass them. If we actually print the actions here, give me 1 second, my wife is calling me. All right, so let's get back here. Let's print this crap. Yeah, so basically, yeah, because we're in the development mode, but we can see that essentially each one of these actually is getting actions now. So yeah, my wife is asking me if I'm gonna finish soon. I'm saying yes, I will. Let me just remove this for a moment just to see what effect does it make. And actually, if we nuke this image, so I'm a young man at the age of 25. I have an IT support background and web development degree, which I have not really used because of the job market is very hard here in Denmark, Copenhagen, and if you don't have experience nor a high degree, no one will look at you, hire you. And now I'm thinking about starting a CS degree at DTU, but I kind of feel behind in life because 25 and blah, blah, blah. Yeah, honestly, I don't think that's I don't think that will help you. No, I don't think that a degree will help you. So I think you're asking a very good question, and no, I don't think studying that and wasting 4 years of your life will help you. I think 4 years of life, 4 years. So I think, let me try to elaborate why. So first and foremost, I work at very good companies here in Denmark, in Copenhagen. I never graduated myself. I dropped out of university at third year because I got bored and I saw no, and this was 15 years ago, whatever. So a degree really was never necessary per se. Is it better to have it than not? Of course, that's common sense. Nobody can argue that. But did you ever need to have a degree in our industry? No. Of course, some people, many younger people, they need university to give them guidance and guidelines. So as they study, they know what to do. They get to socialize. They get to, do many other things than just write code, and that I support. So I still think that like very young people at the age of 18 should probably go to university if it's free, primarily because they will learn they will make friends, they will learn how to socialize, how to think, how to study, how to become more mature. So I'm definitely pro university in that sense. Now, at the age of 25, where you are spending another 4 years learning a lot of arbitrary things, and you probably at the age of 25 don't need to learn how to socialize, how to talk to people, etc. You already know that, right? So benefits for you going to school are marginally low, especially to something that takes 4 years. In 4 years today, with AI and all of the technology, people like me and many other creators, you have that for free, So no, I don't think you should go to school. In that sense, I'm answering the question based on you, and I'm giving you the answer based on how you formulated the question. But again, what I think is you should take it with a grain of salt, of course. That's my take. I mean, the job market, man, is very tough for junior people, and that has nothing to do with university. I mean, it's nobody can give you crispy. I would lie if I have if I have an answer for you. It's a tough market now. Our industry is going through a very big change. Companies are not hiring juniors much, and I don't think that's gonna become better, at least not in some time. Because of AI, of course, AI can do a lot of silly things that juniors would do it typically. I think you should, if you have the funds, if you have some ACASA or whatever, if you what I would do in your situation, I would definitely not go away from IT. I think IT is still the future of this planet. I think our jobs are going to shift and change and get transformed, and a lot of things that I'm doing on this stream are going to be automated to some degree. So this is not a doomsayers thing saying don't become a programmer. I think programmers will be required for the rest of humanity. It's just as every other job throughout history, our jobs will evolve into something. We don't know yet, nobody knows what, but we will definitely stick around more than any other industry, I would say, right? It's just our tasks will differ, and so definitely, try to learn programming. You can buy a course on Udemy. That's what there's these Udemy courses are free. They cost $10, $12. They're tragically cheap for how much effort these mentors put in. To record a course that has 100 hours of content, it takes a year or so of hard work at home, right? So, join meetups, right? You said, Crispy, you live in Copenhagen. Join meetups, talk to people, and so again, there's let's put it this way. I think this is a very good question, and I know that at Twitch there's a lot of people who are going through a lot of hardship, so they're looking for answers. So let me just do some basic logic, right? That you have to it's good to hear. You probably know this, but this is good to hear to all for all of us time to time, right? So this is a person, right? This is you, for example, Crispy, right? So this is Crispy. And you need to find a job, right? So essentially, and Crispy is no different than a toothpaste or so Crispy is just the same as a pizza or any other product, right? So in simple words, somebody is gonna pay for you based on the value you deliver, right? And there's many Crispies in the world. There's you know, billions of Crispies out there, right? And all of them are looking for work. This is just a reality check, and then I'm gonna move from it. But it's important. All Crispies are looking for work. Now, who is gonna get hired? Well, you know, who's ever tastier, right? So there's millions of Crispies. There's all of these people are in a Crispy situation, right? And each one of them wants to get some job, right? I'm a Crispy, everybody, right? So how do you get it? Well, how do you become better than these other Crispies, right? Well, you have to learn how to sell yourself. Sometimes you don't have to be better. You just have to learn how to talk about yourself and how to sell yourself. So essentially, lesson number one here, I guess if I can call it lesson, is learn how to sell yourself or how to market yourself, right? It has nothing to do with degree, man. Nobody cares about degrees. Nobody cares about degrees. People care about experience, and people care about, you know, something special. What is special about you, Crispy? Do you have any side projects to show off, right? And good evening, everybody. Do you have any side projects to show? How are you better than others who also apply to the same job, right? So how do you stand out? I guess, how do you stand out? Right, degree, like if you want to discuss degree for sure is +1 point to stand out. So let's say it's not a negative thing. I'm not saying don't have a degree, but your situation now, studying for 4 years to get +1 point is a massive waste of time. You have to get 10 points, right, to get this job that you're looking for. So you need to get, at the end you have to have 10, right? And this degree is going to give you only 1 point. So where do you get these other 9 points, right? So, well, you get them by getting good about talking, like selling yourself. Here you can get many good, see, here you can get +3 points easily. Do you have any side projects that are online? So do you have something to show for? Because again, bunch of people, also including the stream when I was streaming actively, are very smart when they talk about things. It's so easy to say things, but very few can do things, right? So can you show something to get more points here? +3 points here as well, right? So yeah, and like basically also like Rebecca is saying, do you have a network? Does anyone know that you exist in IT in Copenhagen, right? So without network, it's very hard. It's going to be very hard if you have nobody, right? And then you can say +X points. So this is how you should think about this journey of work, right? And of course, every single other person does this in parallel to you. So other people are not staying idle while you are doing this, right? So fundamentally, you need to find a way to package yourself with set of abilities, set of values, set of things. So when 5 people interview you and they sit around the round table and say, okay, hey, should we hire John, Crispy, or you know, whatever, Marilyn Manson, you know, they will sit and say, okay, we have these top 3 candidates, let's see what they have. Okay, this person was very humble and spoke kindly about others and themselves. They were very good in a technical interview. They were very good at asking questions. They were very good at answering tricky questions that were supposed to, like trap questions in an interview that were supposed to trigger me, that were supposed to. So this is how degree is probably the last point that you care about necessarily, right? Because this is not more points than the others, right? So that is the reality of work, right? There's many people out there always in the same situations as us, and you have to be better than them. So when you go, it's no different than anything else in life. When you go to Netto, to Lidl, to any of the stores, and you want to buy a bottle of wine or juice or popcorn or whatever, you're gonna choose based on certain qualities. And it's the same when interviewing. And literally, like, I'm just being very honest with you, your physical appearance, your mental appearance, your ability to talk, to express yourself, how good you look, all of these things matter. Of course, that in the interview or on a job ad, they're gonna say, we don't care about this and this. Of course, everybody cares about this. When you see a hot guy, a hot chick, it just leaves a different impression than when you see someone who has massive obesity. I'm not saying that one person is more important than the other. It's not. But this is just reality. So to say that physical appearance doesn't matter, it's absolutely fucking stupid, because that's the first impression you leave when you enter the room is, how do you look like? And then when you open your mouth and say something, that's the second impression you leave, right? So this is just common sense. And if somebody tells you otherwise, they're lying to you. I can do that if you're fine to share your PII data here, like your private identifiable data. So if you're fine that I share, your profile on the stream, absolutely. If you're not, then I cannot do that now. No. Yeah, right? Exactly. No, I'm not a front-end developer. I'm a software engineer. I do all ends. I do infrastructure, I do back-end, I do front-end, I do everything. Yeah, this is from Lidl. Yeah, this is Parkside. I bought this in Lidl. Yeah, it's my favorite bottle. I love Parkside. I bought all of their tools. Yeah, it is. All right, cool. That was a very interesting discussion. But yeah, that's reality. That's how it is, and for all of us. I'm not saying this applies to you. I'm saying this pretty much applies to all of us. No, there's no exceptions. I fall into this as well, and nobody is excused from this, right? Parkside, yeah, exactly. Arnold Schwarzenegger has advertised them, exactly. That's just how it is, it's reality. And sooner you stop getting offended by it, and sooner you embrace it, easier it gets. That's just how it is. That's just how it is, my friends. Okay, guys, let's. How long have I been streaming? Where can I see that? Almost 3 hours. Let's chat a little bit, and then we round it up. I'm gonna stream tomorrow as well, and then so let's see if there's any other interesting questions that I'm very happy to answer. So please hit me up. I'm all ears. Whatever it is, infrastructure, front end, back end, jobs, programming languages, whatever you want, I'm all ears right now. And then I need to go with my family, then I need to go to the gym. So I am a musician. I am a musician actually. Let me share my give me 1 second. Let me share my give me a second. Alrighty. Alright, give me a second. Do you think juniors should specialize in integrating AI agents everywhere the most possible? Do you think juniors should specialize in integrating AI agents everywhere? I don't think that these things are mutually exclusive. Rats. Yes, you have to use AI because that's the new reality, right? That doesn't mean that you shouldn't learn the fundamentals, right? So never think binary. Things are rarely binary. Only thing that I can think of in life is binary is life and death, right? Besides that, every single subject nearly has multiple angles and multiple, way more than two states, right? So, so should you use AI as a junior? You should use AI if you're junior, senior, anyone. That's a must. Now, does that mean that you should not be disciplined and learn the fundamentals and become good software engineer? No, I mean, both things can be true at the same time, right? So yes, you have to use AI because that's like saying electricity has been invented, but you know, all of us who haven't had it before it was invented were doing things manually by shovels. So are we gonna not use? You have to use new innovations as they come, because the world uses them, right? So it's not a matter of you have to, right? Somebody asked about the guitars. So let's take a look at a couple of them. So here we have a Hammer Slammer series. Here we have a Harley Benton, another Harley Benton. We have a Washburn, another Harley Benton. We have a Gretsch. We have an Ibanez JS from Joe Satriani, and then we have an Ibanez Prestige series over here. Yeah, and then we have our Kubernetes cluster right here. So this is our Kubernetes cluster. So this is where our servers are. There's 4 Raspberry Pis, there's 3 mini PCs, and as I said many times, I documented all of that. This is I call this my home data center, so I kind of built my own data center. You can check it there. And then yeah, this is the table. This is where I sit. This is where I read your chat. You can see it right there. This is where I code. And this is where my OBS is. And yeah, that's kind of it. That kind of sums it up. Maybe I can share my workbench as well. This is where I do digital electronics. So you can see here I have a oscilloscope. I have a soldering machine. So there's a soldering machine right behind here. There's a programmable DC power supply. And yeah, there's so this is my workbench where I do digital electronics. And yeah, this is me. This is me here sitting. Yeah. Let's see another question. Okay, so here's my problem. I'm from a webcam website. I was a usual member that would just I have no idea what's that. I do not know. I mean, I'm not an embedded programmer. No. So if you're asking, am I like? No, not really. But I have some plans. I have some ideas. So I'm working on one hardware project right now when I have the time. But unfortunately, yeah, there's very little time. But you know, I love to know things end to end. And the only thing that I lacked, because I was a Cisco engineer maybe 17 years ago, I finished Cisco Academy. So the only kind of layer that I missed to understand full end-to-end from transistors and capacitors up to building frontends, that's why I created this workbench, because I lacked some physics knowledge, some proper knowledge, some digital electronics knowledge. So for me, it was about kind of at least rounding up that circle. And again, you don't have to be an expert at all of these things. Of course, you cannot be an expert at all of them because there's so many things to learn. But I think every senior engineer owes oneself to understand things, how they work. So you have to understand how computers work for yourself, for your own sake, because it kind of makes you, it gives you a sort of, it gives you a dose of confidence that you need, right? Thank you very much. I mean, that's why I stream, man, because of people. It's fun. I like to just, yeah, that's the whole point of a stream, for sure. For sure. Again, I mean, engineering really repeats itself, right? So there's no cool or uncool engineering, right? Like, let me put it this way. Without a web page or a user interface, all the engineering before it is nearly useless, at least consumer-wise. So the thing is, like, if you're one of the people who shits on some sort of front ends, either the mobile apps or the web apps, that is absolutely fucking ridiculous. Because again, without something tangible that you can use as a user, like this very chat is a product. You can have amazing infrastructure that can deal with 17 trillion messages in a second. If there's no place for a user to come and send that message, it's useless. It also go the other way around. If you have a beautiful website or an app that works, but there's no backend, it's useless, right? So there's no useless and useful engineering. All engineering is a component of a whole ecosystem. We need the networking stack. We need electricity so we can run these machines, right? We need the front ends so people can interface with them, right? So there's no like hard or easy engineering or important and non-important engineering, right? No matter how silly that button is to program, you still need it, right? Right? So this is what people need to understand. Everything is meaningless if only one component is missing. For instance, if your router doesn't work at home, everything else is meaningless. Your whole web stack is useless. If you don't have electricity, even more. You get the point, right? So of course you should always strive to learn any of these concepts as you can, because they all matter in their own regard. And if one of them is missing again, it's all for nothing, right? If your internet doesn't work, nothing works. No electricity, nothing works. No backend, front end doesn't work. No front end. So it's all kind of falls into the same. So everybody should strive to understand how these things work, right? If you had to start today, would you follow same tech stack? I'm struggling to choose. I'm a polyglot developer, man. I don't use a single stack. I know many languages and I can write them, but I write things based on the circumstance, based on the use case. And would I still write I wrote jQuery and Angular and Ember.js and Knockout.js, and the history of these tools is very long. React.js is not hasn't really invented much, right? So would I use them still? Yes, I would. I like simple things, and I like simple, domain-driven development with a minimal amount of abstractions. So yeah, I use whatever is very simple. If it's simple, I use it. If it's complex, I don't use it, right? Because most things can be fixed in a simple way, because they are fundamentally simple. When you think about let's say, web development, it's very simple, right? You have some data stored somewhere, you have some service that accesses that data, that has some permissions and security and stuff, and then you have the front ends, clients that consume that data. That is fundamentally everything, and of course there's details around it, validation, security, sanitization, a bunch of other things, but things are not as complex as they might seem. So once you understand that in your career, then you strive to achieve that as with maximum simplicity as possible, right? And the biggest problem with programming and with books and theory is that most of the theory is based just on that, not in that's why the only thing you really need is something like pragmatic programmer or something like that, because there's many opinions about programming and things, but in reality you can discard 90% of these opinions, because in reality they don't matter, because most people don't scale things to serve billions of users. Most people build relatively medium-sized apps that pretty much work with any technology or any stack, right? So decisions that you make when it comes to your stack, for majority of people, rarely ever make any difference, right? Are you going to use PHP, Java, Node.js, Haskell, Python, Ruby on Rails, Clojure, whatever you want, right? It doesn't matter, right? Because you have no users, you have no product, so it absolutely is meaningless. And that is the reality of pragmatism. That's being pragmatic, right? People who build products for real, they understand this, and in most circumstances they choose their stack based on some other questions, and none of them relate to performance or anything like that, right? Because very rarely anyone in their career actually reach a point where they have performance issues because of the technology they chose. That's very rare. All right, cool. Any other questions, fellas, before I head off? Rebecca, I mean, I should probably do that. I think that would benefit me more. Crispy, of course, man, my pleasure. Whenever I'm around, whenever I stream, please join in and ask anything. That is just common sense, right? Raspberry Pi upgrades. Actually, I don't think that I'll ever buy Raspberry Pis again. Not after I've discovered the mini PCs. If you check them in my guide under hardware, absolutely, Crispy, please do. That would be great. So I think buying Raspberry Pis was a massive mistake I made, primarily because the mini PCs I have now, they run on approximately 9-10 watts idle, and Raspberry Pis run around 5 watts. So the difference is very marginal, and one of these mini PCs has more compute than all 4 Raspberry Pis combined right now and more. So these mini PCs are typically around €100, the one that I have in my guide. They're absolute beasts. I have them running 24/7 now for almost a year. Secondhand mini PC beats all four Raspberry Pis combined. So I don't think that I'll ever buy a Raspberry Pi again. Nothing that I have against Raspberry Pis, don't misunderstand me. They're just very expensive. Raspberry Pis used to be these small little cheap things you would buy. Right now, Raspberry Pi is going to cost you around €100. Then you need an adapter, you need a hard drive or an SD card. You need some hat to add extra widgets to it, and once you buy all of it, you can literally buy 2 or 3 mini PCs. It's absolutely ridiculous, because base Raspberry Pi is, I think today, here in Denmark, is almost €100. 8 gigs, so without the adapter, again, without anything. So if you add extra gadgets, it's gonna easily be €150 to €100. And these mini PCs I buy, absolutely perfect. So I'll never buy a Raspberry Pi again, because I didn't know, to be very frank with you, that these mini PCs, that these series of these mini PCs have been built to run basically the entire time. Literally, I mean, you can also run them to run like when they came with Windows 11 installed, and it was actually running smooth. So, absolutely, they have NVMe drives. So, I mean, it's literally NVMe. I mean, can you even? It's uncomparable. Like typically with Raspberry Pis, you use micro SD cards, which are completely unreliable, or you plug. So that is the problem, right? Let me put it in perspective. Let me show you. Let me just share my. So if I go to the guide that I wrote, or I can also show you via camera, but it doesn't. If I go over here, just know that I also added the Excel sheet of all of the costs. You can find it here, but let me show you. So you can see I have 3 mini PCs. 2 of them are worker nodes of my Kubernetes cluster, because this is running Kubernetes. You see if I go kubectl get nodes. So this is my Kubernetes cluster here, right? You can see I have these 6 machines. You can see I have 3, so it's a high availability Kubernetes cluster. So I have 3 main nodes and I have 3 worker nodes, right? And you can see I'm using my Raspberry Pis as my main nodes, basically, primarily so they can distribute workloads to my workers. And my workers are my mini PCs because they're very, 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 very powerful, right? Now, which ones? I believe that I have included all of the links here. So, for example, one of the ones that I have is this one, HP Elite Desk 800 G3. And you can see this one is kind of less than 100 euros here in Denmark. So if we take a look at it, look at this. So it comes with a Core i5 75000, 3.4 gigahertz, 8 gigs of RAM, 500 gigs of probably SSD. You can also find these with NVMEs. Mine have NVMEs. But I buy this here in DBA. So here in Denmark, I use DBA and I say, you know, a Lenovo G3 or whatever. So you can see now if we take a look at it, or whatever, Elite Desk. Let's search for Elite Desk. And then I kind of create these alerts. And so it's one very crucial thing to remember. Never buy them from resellers, because these guys know the value. So you want to seek to buy them from regular people, not from people who buy them. Like this guy, for example, you see this is a company. So this is a company, so these guys know, like these guys also buy them from let's say, under quote, stupid people and sell them. You don't want to do that. So you want to kind of find them. This is like, you can see, so if I say G3 here, yeah, these are kind of, this one is G3, but not the portable one. So this is a fat one, but you can see this one is 50-60 euros. No, I don't use Proxmox. No, this is a pure Kubernetes cluster. So this is not a home lab. This is a mini data center, as I call it, right? I don't host images or anything. I use this to deploy services to the internet. So this is my programmer network runs on it and stuff. When you go to programmer network here, right, you essentially hit this guy right here. So programmer network platform, for example, is hosted there, and so many other services as well, right? So this is, and you can of course go to, but I wrote everything here, and I think you can see, so this is how they look like when you deassemble them. So of course I changed the toothpaste on all of the CPUs, I vacuum cleaned it, you can see that I have some isopropane alcohol here, just to make the cleaning of the CPU easier. So you clean it. This is kind of the enclosure this is where the SSD, you can see there's an NVMe drive right below. And then you have like some extra slots for RAM. So I think these support up to 32 gigs of RAM, but you don't need that, even though that's also absolutely fascinating that you can have 32 gigs of RAM in them, right? See, this one has SSD drive. And then also if I go to my MikroTik here, I've also one of them, I built my own router. And I think I also have it here. I built my own router. So my router is like enterprise grade router right now. And that's because so you can see, this is my router. So my home network router is this. What did I do? Well, I bought the one of the network cards, so SFP plus card. You can see this one, and I have basically just 2 SFP ports. So SFP port now out of this card, you can see here, goes directly into my SFP port on my MikroTik switch. And this is, I believe, I think it's 10 gigs port, but it doesn't matter. I only have 1 gig connection at home. Then I had to buy this riser card, and this card basically plugs into. Is it not expensive to have it running 24? No, it's not, because it runs on around 60 watts of power. So this whole thing right now runs on around 60 watts. And you can actually see so you can actually see here in the bottom we have 4 Raspberry Pis. It's not. So you have 4 Raspberry Pis on the bottom. Then there's a mini PC in the middle. That's my router. And then there's a cloud router switch. And then on top there, you can see there's 2 more mini PCs, ThinkCenter and Elite Desk. And then on top of all that, there's like 2 fans, exhaust fans that kind of take this heat out of the. The only downside of this setup, of course, is in the summer, of course, this produces heat, right? So in the summer, it can be a little warm. But this cluster is so powerful that this could handle so much traffic, so many services, right? And of course, as I said, never misunderstand this. If you want to know why I built this, right, you should read it. So do I suggest that you do this at home? Well, that depends on your on what it is that you want, right? Cool. Luharski, good evening, buddy. How you doing? I'm doing well, man. I'm doing very well. What are you using? I mean, I have RTX 490, so I'm just using NVIDIA's thing. I'm just using the. Are you a consultant? I'm not a consultant. No. Crispy, of course, man. Good to see you. Good to meet you. Likewise, that's at least what I could hear from you, man. From the chat, you seem so as well. Happy that you found my stream, man. Stick around when I'm around, and yeah. Does the video card have plugins? Yeah. So when you install GeForce Experience from NVIDIA, they have you can also install their SDK, and then you use their plugin directly inside the OBS. So you install their it's an SDK of some sort, and then inside the OBS on that specific video source, you can kind of apply that filter, and it removes it. So you can see it does a really well job, really well done work. But yeah, you know, you need a good GPU. All right, fellas, it's getting quieter and quieter. That just tells me that I should head off and be with my family. So what can I say? Thank you. I'll probably do some work offline tonight when my kids are asleep, because we haven't done almost anything this stream. But yeah, good to see you all. Thank you very much. Make sure to follow this channel, or whatever is it called, And please sign up on Programmer Network if you get a chance. If not, that's perfectly fine. But if, you know, if you're going to stick around, help a bit, and yeah, do that. Thank you very much, guys. Have a good one, and I'll see you another time. Peace out, everybody. Bye-bye.